Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Happy Monday to you. We're taking a look, of course, at Bitcoin, helping understand best practice, big picture, seeing what's going on with this dip and recovery in the last 12 to 24 hours. We saw a significant decrease in value last night, down to right around 19,500, with a nice bounce here so far today with a bullish engulfing candle. So a handful of good things going on here, but again, we'll see, of course, what looks best and essentially what may happen next. If you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, right? I really love teaching people to trade, though. So just note that I've been trading for over 16 years, and I'm truly passionate about trading effectively and more. I guess according to your own risk tolerance, right? There's a certain thing that you want to do, and I just kind of have a system in place that I teach other people how to trade cryptocurrency. So thank you again for joining me. Obviously, if you are new to the channel, consider checking out CryptoCache.tech as my website, and you have the opportunity to become a community member. We have over 200 members right now, and I provide you with a trading academy, community, and signal group, so it's a really awesome experience. I've had a lot of graduates recently speak highly of the course, so check that out in your own time once again. Last thing, of course, is that I do offer discounts for third world countries and military as well. So thank you so much for your service. Go ahead and reach out and let me know. Only use the contact information below. I'll never direct message you first. Okay. So here's where we're at with Bitcoin. All right. So standard stuff here in the sense that we saw the price action retrace yesterday. While it was slightly surprising to see such redness over the weekend, it's nice to see a recovery today. It makes perfect sense. If you saw my video from yesterday, we're overexhausted to the downside, right? We shouldn't expect the price action to come down much lower, at least not the immediate future. We could see the price action come down if it gets rejected off of this, this tentative, descending trend line, as well as this other, and also many other key level resistances. Don't get me wrong, we're not in the clear just yet, but we're seeing a nice bounce, and this is pretty much expected at this point, which is why I felt comfortable taking a long position with Bitcoin here recently. So to my community members, keep the position open. I'm confident we're going to hit our targets. It's just a matter of time before it recovers. However, we got some things we want to kind of pay attention to. First of all, RSI up over 30, fantastic. We got a nice perfect bounce there. That is a standard trading 101 right there. So anytime the price action bounces off 30 on the RSI, you can usually expect the price action to continue to increase from there. Again, we have a resistance at 50, so hypothetically somewhere in the range of 21 to 22,000 is going to be that key level resistance. But for the moment, from what we can see here, we're basically a nice little shift in momentum, and the price action is recovering. We're also starting to see the MACD start to lose its momentum. While this is not telling whatsoever, it is giving us an indication that the end of the downside could potentially be near. Again, potentially is the key word here, because obviously the price action could go sideways, up, and then back down again. In fact, I'm kind of expecting that just because these descending trends haven't been broken yet. All right. So again, just something to kind of think about there in the big picture. Looking at the 4-hour, here's what we want to kind of recognize. First of all, we're up over the 20-day simple moving average. That's beneficial, but not the greatest thing ever. So all well and good there. The 50 is going to be a big point of contention. That's trending right around 21,000, as well as the fact that we're at 50 on the RSI. So it kind of reaffirms the fact that 20,400 is a tentative resistance. And if we see, of course, on the smaller time frames, you can see that has been a key level resistance here previously. In other words, when the price action first tried to recover, we saw 20,400 tested and rejected immediately. Okay, so again, right there at that level is kind of a key level resistance for the moment based off Fibonacci retracement. At 0.618 level is essentially holding for the moment. Again, we break above that, it would be pretty good shape here to see the price action continue higher. We've also got a MACD convergence on the 4-hour, which I typically put the most weight into as far as the most telling indication of a transition. And this, again, that's based off my trading style, right? If you're a day trader, this may not be super relevant based on the simple fact that you're looking at smaller time frames. But as a day trader, you should look at all time frames to understand specifically what's going on. And when you see a MACD convergence on the 4-hour, it's usually a good sign to kind of tell you that, well, the momentum has shifted on the midterm, and that likely will translate to a positive 1-hour time frame. So let's take a look at the 1-hour, and we can kind of see here with the moving averages, not really relevant at this point. I prefer my moving averages to be used on larger time frames. They're more specific. Obviously, the exponential moving averages are different on shorter time frames when you're day trading, but for the trading style that I have, I think it's important to kind of look at specific indications. And right now, I think the cloud is a big indication here, kind of letting us know that we do have a green light to leave our long position open. conversion lines above the baseline, and even though we haven't broken above the upper lead yet, it seems almost inevitable unless the price action gets it rejected in the next 4 to 8 hours. So hypothetically, price action breaks above that, that would be an indication to go long. Once again, you want to have confirmation. My confirmation would be for the price action to come up and consolidate at 20,400 and then the next leg up, right? So this would be a case in point where you'd probably want to consider entry at that level, just based on the overall sense that, you know, we're shifting from bearish to bullish. And you got to keep in mind too that there are false positives. The price action can jump above the cloud and not give you a positive. In other words, you know, that's the direction should have continued higher, but it got rejected essentially, right? And that is what waiting for confirmation is. So hypothetically, the price action continues sideways for 3 or 4 more hours above the cloud. That would be a case in point where it would be maybe advantageous to consider a long position. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if there's any overextension here. And just to touch on this too, first of all, this is the overextension we saw previously. Came down to a 9, and got greedy, continued much lower. Price action eventually averaged out at 20,000. Then this strong push to the downside to hit an 8, and to get a reset, now we're back on the up. So again, that's positive in the sense because that really tells us that the bears have tried their hardest to get the price action down lower, and the bulls are kind of sick and tired of it, and they're buying their they're buying their Bitcoin right now. All right. That being said, we got a nice little consolidation here where you see the price action come up and get like a nice little consolidation effort there for about 6 to 8 hours. That's perfect. That kind of gives us that base, that foundation of volume, and then it built on that, and now we're up to a 5. So hypothetically, we have 9 more hours. A total of 9. Right? That's kind of the worst case scenario, or best case, depending on how you look at it. When you hit a 9 on TD sequential, it's likely to retrace or consolidate, right? So that being said, we're at a 5. We got hypothetically 4 more hours of increase potential before we see the price action get rejected. So if we're going to break above 20,400, it needs to happen in the next four hours or so. Otherwise, we'll see potentially a decrease in value to about 20,000 and perhaps another retest again. Okay, so again, a few different scenarios could unfold, but generally speaking, it definitely looks like Bitcoin wants to recover and do well. We also want to take a look at traditional markets, and this is interesting here to me, based on the way that I think we gapped down and we were pretty much a doji candle on both, right? So traditional markets are not doing fantastic. It really just tells us that Bitcoin is overexhausted and is trying to recover, regardless of what the traditional markets are doing. Okay, so to me, that's a positive sign here, showing that slight bit of independence from the traditional markets on Bitcoin, and obviously it makes sense, right? Because we're extremely overextended, or previously were, to the downside at 19.5. So to me, I think we should expect a little bit more upside before potential rejection at key level resistances, such as 21,600. We know that area right there is a point of contention. If we come back up there and retest again, we better expect a rejection, but potentially an increase through there based on a lot of other factors. We want to wait, of course, until we get there. But to me, what I'm looking for in the immediate future is a closure above 20,400 to kind of give us that first leg up, and then potentially to retest these other key level Fibonacci retracement lines and to break 21,000. That ideally be the goal there. But at this point, we'll take our wins while we can get them. We can see some green across the board finally. Most coins are starting to recover, and it's a nice sign, right? So we got to celebrate the small stuff and make sure that we don't get wrecked in the meantime with the big stuff, right? So again, position size effectively. To my community members, make sure that you recognize that it's okay to have a trade that's open for a little bit longer than just a day or two, right? Again, depending on your trading style, obviously. I like to hold positions open for 1 or 2 weeks in some cases, depending on the overall sense of things. So allow things to recover and try not to have super tight stop losses, because right now alts, as soon as Bitcoin makes a move down, alts get hammered and then they come right back up again. So it's an interesting system in the way things are working right now. So again, I guess the takeaway here is just to make sure that you position size effectively. Only risk what you're willing to lose, and I would say no more than 5% if you're using leverage. No more than 5% of your overall portfolio per trade. That's recommended. And obviously, if you're using spot, you can do things a little bit different because you can hold them longer and not get liquidated. Right? There's a difference there. So just make sure you're working smart instead of hard, right? That's the concept here. All right, and if you want that for yourself, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me here. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.